Hello, Mohammed. I have one more adjustment slash different way of doing things that I'd like to tell you about, and it happens to deal with how we set up the very last story in, or the very last chapter in each course. It's the settings for that. So what that is so for every single final, let me just close this. For every single last chapter, and in this case, this is the only chapter, so it is the last chapter, we're going to have it set up slightly differently in the settings. So what I mean by that is, so here's the quadrant number 1, and course is find the story. And so the final chapter in this course, which is the only chapter in this course, we're going to not allow the user to fast forward, which will allow this summary info thing to pop up. And once it popped up, we're going to have click next course to continue and save chapter. Great. I'll close that. I'll do this again for the answer rehearsal section and it'll make more sense. So answers. So for the chapters in the answer section, oh, there's only one chapter here. Hold on, I'll go down to what you did earlier. Here for this answer section. So for these chapters, for every single chapter, the settings are allow this chapter to auto forward. That's still the case. So first and then the second one, right? Allow chapter to auto forward, great. This third one, allow chapter to auto forward, yes, that's the same. But this is the last chapter in this sequence. This is the last chapter. So we're going to have different settings for the last chapter. So the last chapter is going to have the following settings. I'm going to click no on that. We're going to go up to summary info. And in summary info, we're going to say click next course to continue. Save chapter. Great. Then we'll close that. Let's do that again for a little practice. Chapters. Great. So all these are still set up the same way that you have been doing, but for the last chapter, we're going to remove that. And summary info. Click next course to continue, save chapter. Great. Same thing for the find the story. Because the find the story chapter is the only chapter in this course, it will have these settings. Great. And stories, chapters, so the first stories are still set up the same way, but the final chapter in this course is set up like that. Great. So the final chapter, I already did that for these chapters in this course. You'll see all of these chapters, are set up the way that you've been taught. Great, and set up the way that, I asked you to. What to click on and what not to, and set up the way that I asked you to. Great, and then the final chapter is set up with that toggled off, and then summary info, click next course to continue. So hopefully that doesn't confuse you too much, because I did ask for several different things that you could do. I asked for you to upload an image for each course. I've asked you to upload images as you make the courses. And I also made a video about creating an additional course that I hadn't asked you to create before here. Great. And the images for these are also in the same area that the images for these are in. I made a previous video about that, but the main change here is the final course, or the final chapter in each course. These are courses. Yes, the final chapter in each course will have this toggled to no, and then in the summary info section we'll have click next course to continue. So that should be good. Okay. So hopefully I haven't confused you too much, but it's exactly the same as it was before, except now we're adding images to these. You have an extra course in front of each quadrant to add, and the final chapter in each course will have the settings that I outlined in this video. Thank you, Mohammed.